Good morning, y'all. What's going on? This is your man, Shabir Lean. What's happening? What's popping? To tell you what's dropping. Yeah, today's subject matter. We got to follow up on this today because we started it 2 weeks ago. I got sick last week and I'm still in the process of recovering from that. But I'm here. The struggle, religion or spirituality. Is it a struggle? Are you good with it? How's your life been? Huh? Since you turned it over. How's the congregation? How's the Ummah? How you feeling about yourself when you're in those environments with the believers like yourself? Yeah. What kind of relationship do you have with everybody? Is there really help? Oh, not from God, from the people who are part of that fellowship, who are part of that brotherhood. Yeah. Is there help? Or do you find yourself in more distress over and over again because of those very people who are supposed to be part of that same, the likeness, adherence to the values, the principles, the beliefs, the guidance provided by, yeah, you know who. We're going to talk about that some more today. Meantime, I'm going to make me a cup of coffee. Need y'all to stay tuned. Yeah, stay tuned. And groove on the music. This is from my Soft Spot album, All Dance Music. Yeah, you can just flow. It's about an hour and 10 minutes long, the album. Yeah, I won't let y'all listen to it that long today. Y'all can do that on your own. Go to your favorite music streaming platform and go ahead and groove on your own. Yeah, turn the house into a party. Get it? House party? I'm going to make me a cup of coffee. I'll be right back at you. what I do in office, minimal message sent to you, subliminal taking what's not mine, criminal game I play, political, think you know me, not on the same level. I'm a real gangster, running with the devil. Only see me in person when it's time for the race. I know none of your needs, damn disgrace. An elected official, liquor chaser, character superficial. Didn't open up the link. Where are you? Yeah, I tell you. Yeah. Perfect air. For this time of the year, it's always perfect. If you haven't heard, let me play it for you. How about that? How about I'll let you hear a little bit about what's going on in the world today. And I can sum it up with one song. But I actually have a couple of them. Let me see what's happening here. Like stuff be disappearing on me. Where did you go? Where did you go? It's playing Girl Mom for Life. Soon to be my wife. I'm a poet, yep, and I know it. Where has it gone? It's playing, but I don't see it. Where are you? This is really weird how it's not even up here. Where are you? It's so weird. All right, you're playing, but you're not showing. How do you do that? Because you're playing it there. That's why. Hey, so while we're waiting for others to get their coffee and their little furry slippers and cuddly pillows, this is one from the product catalog. Yeah, make sure you grab hold of one. Yeah. Yep, and we got more of these, many more of these to come. We got fully covered pillows for you. Yep, the whole pillow is covered. These are the ones you'll find at our pop-ups. Most of the pillows that you're going to find now that are on our website are fully covered. So this whole thing is designed. This you'll get at a pop-up shop. Depending on the site, depending on our partner, whoever it is that we're using for the pillow. We have different partners that we use. So some of them have the full design like this, and then some of them have the whole thing done, front and back. This one actually has the front and back too. So, yeah, it's the front and back pillow, nice. Yeah. 16 by 16 pillows, nice and soft. Throw it behind your head. Hey, you can take this to the airport. The other thing that goes around your neck is great. It's wonderful. I like this because I can shift it. I can put it on my wife's shoulder, just lay to the side and be comfy. Yeah. Hey, let me let you check out Bottom Feeders. But if you haven't heard Political, you really need to hear that too. Let me play Political for you. This song, I did this song back in 2021. December of 2021, I actually released this song. Nickels and dimes in my pocket. Hey, you can play this for the ops. If you're a Trump fan, Trump team can play this and put Kamala Harris' picture in it. If you are a Harris fan, the Kamala Harris team can take and play this and put Trump's picture. It's relevant to everybody in the White House, so I don't care who the hell you pick. Listen, either one of y'all teams, give me a holler. The Trump team, the Kamala Harris team, whoever reaches me first, you can use it. Just reach out to the brother and say, hey, we want to use this. Good morning, Sister Samaki. Assalamu alaikum. Character superficial, constituent to face her. Knock on your door when I need your vote. A coattail rider, track record just a joke. It applies to all of them in office. We're members of a party with no booty shakes. It's time to make them work, man. Got the same damn people in office, and they wind up in the Senate. Yeah, they wind up in Congress. Got to start down here, man. Start getting these people out of office that ain't doing the job. Take you what's not mine, a criminal. Like I said, I don't care what camp you come from. The Trump camp, the Harris camp. Give me a call if you want to use this as your theme song to address your ops issues. My allegiance is to the party, so to you I lie. I understand the system, I know you don't. Leaving the party, I know you won't. Invited to the party, you're having no fun. Hating and abetting, thinking I'm gonna be the one. What I do in office minimal messages sent to you. Subliminal, taking what's not mine. Criminal, in my play, vertical. What I do in office minimal messages sent to you. Subliminal, taking what's not mine. A criminal. In my play, vertical. What I do in office minimal messages sent to you. Yeah, once they get there, man, they good. They know we're not going to change the party. Becoming an independent is nothing but a Jedi mind trick. It's a two-party system. Until that is changed, until the candidates, independent candidates, are relevant, until they make themselves relevant, it's going to be the same thing. So stop with your Jedi mind trick. Stop making yourself believe that there's a difference. It's not. At the end of the day, we have never seen an independent in the office of President of the United States or a Vice President of the United States. Think about it. Media propaganda blitz that just spreading the hate. They're waving to the crowd, spewing empty promises. The applause is loud. Damn, you still fall for the hiss. It's a dog and pony show, threatening the woke. Donkeys and elephants, a three-ring circus, rope-a-dope. They've lured us in, hook, line, and sinker. They only want followers, not independent thinkers. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders. Men who are owned, their faces are two-tone. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders. Men who are owned, their faces are two-tone. Their faces are Two-tone. Up and away. Superheroes to many, saviors for some, a taker from any. They appear distinguished, the 1%ers toys. Their souls extinguished, their minds destroyed. For you and all to the same breath. With us against us, it's a loyalty litmus test. Patriotism, dictator infusion, schizoid prism, it's a democracy illusion. If you've not had the opportunity to listen to any of the music that I put out since December of 2021, do yourself a favor. You want to hear some messages. Some messages. Listen to the lyrics. Listen to the lyrics. I know it's been kind of hard over the years to hear lyrics, but you can hear my lyrics word for word. BaleemForYou.net. Check us out. They call it a chamber. Believers of the manger. In God they trust not. Fallen angel, no stranger. From their seats they will pry. To our faces telling lies. They're complicit, no surprise. The ceiling is high. They think the same of you and I. What they call woke is a politicized form of divide. No matter, just listen to the idle chatter. Because they fear the smoke and splatter. Sweet bottom feeders, men who are armed, their faces are hard to tone. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are armed, their faces are hard to tone. Their faces are hard to tone. Available on all of your favorite music streaming platforms. All of them. All of my music. The body count is growing from the propaganda they're sowing. They're hiding the hand, want to keep you not knowing you. Shout out to Distro Kid, man. Listen, as soon as I send them my music and everything is right, they waste no time whatsoever getting my music onto one of these platforms. Shout out to Spotify and all those other ones who put my music out. Listen, shout out to all of them, man. For those of you sitting on your behind, still whining and crying and complaining about, I need a record deal, do it your damn self. You got plenty of partners out there, man, who will get your music out there. Independent artists have taken over. It's the takeover. Plain and simple. We got old school coming back because this stuff they got out today is irrelevant. It's killing the minds of all, not just our youth, but all. It's time to change, man. LL got a new album out. Yep. Make sure you get on it. Yeah, their faces are two-tone. Welcome to another live episode of Daddy's Right Here Live. I am your host, as always, Sabir Aleem. What's happening? What's popping? Y'all know what's dropping. Merchandise. BaleemForYou.net. If you have not been there, make sure you go there and get some merchandise. Reasonably priced. When I say reasonably priced, listen, we're ramen noodles pricing our stuff. That's what we eating, right? Because we want everybody to eat. We want everybody to have our merchandise. It's all affordable, right? Great product. Here's another one of the products here. This is one of the pillows I showed you earlier. This is one of our shirts, polyester shirt, man. Keeps you cool, right? Has a nice feel to it. It's soft, right? You know, men like soft too. Other than the woman, we like a soft shirt. We like soft pillows. We like to, squeeze these kind of things. We like these kind of things. Y'all stop being shy, brothers, and come on out there and show your humanity, right? This is your humanity. You like the feel of something soft. You like to smell good. You like to feel good. You like for your skin to not feel like sandpaper. Your woman surely loves it, right? Matter of fact, here's the I got the tumbler here, right here. This matches the shirt too, right? Coincidentally, right? You see the logo on the sleeve, right? I got a new line coming out. I just put out a couple of pieces. The other day from the Nicole collection. Yeah, the wife getting her skills on, getting her line out. This is her line. The Nicole collection. So all of the designs in the Nicole collection are going to be by the wife. Yeah, she's putting her thing down. She's learning her digital skills and putting her imaginations onto the sheets and putting them out there. So, like I said, a lean for you is a family business. Yeah, I'm listed as the owner, right? I am the owner. We don't have people working for us. It's a family business. So, family has input, family has ideas. So it's imaginations, artistic imaginations manifested. Make sure you check our stuff out. We got oversized scarves for the sisters who want to wear, scarves that they have their design. We have dresses, we have skirts, mini skirts. I have a halter top jumpsuit that was put out a couple of weeks ago. Just put some boots out. We got chucker type boots. We got you from up north. You know about the boot thing, right? Up north got the boot game. Plain and simple. Floridians can't understand how we're wearing boots in June, July, and August. They can't understand it. It's a boot thing. It's a Philly thing. Philly's about that boot game, right? Um, we have shower curtains. Get ready to add on some men's collared shirts. Because it's a lot of nice collared shirts that I found throughout the years and spent a pretty penny on a lot of these shirts. That's not what we're trying to do with the Lean for You. We're putting our stuff, man, and we're like I said, we're pricing our merchandise, man, at just a notch above, you know, the red line. So if you know the red line and the green line, the red line is no profit, it's loss. The green line is profit. So we're not trying to get 10, 12, 13, even $5 off of a sale, right? We're looking to just make sure that, you know, we're able to price things out where we can pay our bills because I'm retired. This is a livelihood. This is a future, for the wife, for the kids, for them to be able to have an ongoing stream of income. So if anything ever happens, because stuff happens, they'll be taken care of. So it's a lot of work day and night. I'm thankful that I have the wife that I have who's been patient, who understands sometimes I sleep downstairs on the sofa, man, because I'm up all night. But I'm with the little one, all during the day. So like my mind has to rest, but it's quiet at night. I can go ahead and rock and roll and get these things done. But yeah, just remember that it's work. It's work. So I'm putting in more than 40 hours a week, but it's in the comforts of my own environment, a safe, comfortable environment, an environment I can put my feet up and I can rest in between. I can take a couple of days off from a particular area. I, dedicate hours to design, and I dedicate hours to learning because you have to learn the business too. You have to learn the business. I eliminated, a lot of folks who I was actually paying to provide, fulfillment services to, and I find that I don't have to do that. There are people out there who do it, and the cost is little to nothing. It's nothing on Etsy, for me to go and put my stuff on there. Once you exceed a certain amount of listings, there's a fee, but I pay like 20 cents for an additional, um, listening. That's nothing. That's absolutely nothing when you look at the potential of what can be made. So make sure you guys check out .net. That's our home. That's our final home. That's our final resting place. That's where we're going to be for the duration. And we hope to see you there as well. But seeing you is not always a guarantee, is it? Huh? People say, see you later, see you tomorrow, see you next week, see you next Friday, see you next Sunday. We always say that, because, that's our plan. That's our plan. Our plan is to, see you at some point in time. We need to be able to do that, right? We need to be able to do that. So what we need to do is, start looking at, we're not living for today. I'm not. I don't live for today. I live and I enjoy the day. And that's different, right? Because I my eyes are on a prize beyond this. And that's my conditioning. That's my foundation of living. Right. So that means each day I'm above ground, that my focus is on, right, uh what can I do today in this moment to uh almost guarantee myself a spot. Right. I said almost guarantee because I don't know. You can try to conceptualize the consequence of current and or past behaviors. You can try to conceptualize that because you have to understand that if I am the creator, right, that there's expectations. Of course, honor and praise and remembrance are first and foremost, especially when you look at the historics of your own life and see the trials and tribulations that you have overcome. How did that happen? I've been to hell. So if you believe that life is a continuum, could this not be the consequence of what you failed to do in the other life? This body is a vessel, but there's a spirit within. There's a spirit within. Is it a point in time where that spirit becomes vindicated? Where it enters and it provides the internal guidance of a person? Because we're not, and I keep talking to everybody, keep telling everybody, you have to look at life from a scientific perspective as well. We keep trying to separate science from the spiritual world. We keep trying to separate science from religious doctrine. We don't connect the dots. That's why the struggle is as it is, because if you're having a human experience, right, it's difficult. It's difficult because the human experience is riddled with trauma of its existence, right? And then if you look at it from the perspective of there's a spirit within us, well, this spirit, right, has a role within us. When you look at the id, the ego, and the super ego, and I often talk about the id, the ego, and the super ego because these are also part of the human being's makeup. The id, that part that just wants what it wants when it wants it, and it doesn't care about the consequences. The ego, the part that that says to the id, hold on for a minute. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. And then the super ego is the other part to the self that the ego talks to and draws strength and energy and guidance from the super ego. So the ego, you hear people use the term egotistical, but You can be egotistical because when you're egotistical, you're only going off your selfish wants and needs. You're going off of your selfish wants and needs. When you don't allow even the ego to interrupt that destructive thought, even for a second, then that's where a problem is. See, because the super ego gets developed over time. The super ego is actually your spirit. The super ego is actually the spirit. The super ego is where your morality exists, your values, your beliefs. That's really where your spirit is. You don't have to believe me. Look it up. The id, the ego, and the super ego. Google it and get an understanding for yourself, like you should have been or should be doing with your religion. If you're only getting it on Friday, if you're only getting it on Saturday, if you're only getting it on Sunday, you getting it the other days, like it's unnecessary. You don't have to get it like that. See, what they give to you in this world, in this life, has to be and can only be managed with a balanced spirit. Other than that, you'll go crazy. You'll find yourself standing on a bridge. You'll find yourself standing on a stool in the house. You'll find yourself doing all kinds of things to yourself because you just got to go. Listen to what I'm saying to you. It's a choice. It's a choice. I have been to hell. Now, I don't know if it's because of something that transpired because of the unsettled spirit that's within me, or if it's the self-imposed stuff that I've done to myself because of my hard-headedness, because of my arrogance, and those things that precede being rightly guided. There's a difference. And the whole thing of it is learning to get in alignment. So once you get in alignment with your spirit and you begin to connect with the world around you and don't make everything about you, right? You begin to see some clarity of the self. Of the self. We started 2 weeks ago with the article 6 Ways to Cope with Religious and Spiritual Struggles. The article was written by Andy Tix, PhD, who also authored a book, The Pursuit of Peace, or it's just an excerpt from an article. But The Pursuit of Peace is something that he's put out. So if you look up Andy Tix, that's Tix, you'll get some more information and background on him. But this article is on spirituality. And it was just it stood out for me because of the transition that I've made over the past few years, with the struggle between religion and spirituality, and looking at the dogmatic aspects of what was off-putting to me, and taking a look at the overall fellowship, Ummah, whatever you want to reference it, because I'm talking to all believers. But whatever way you want to reference it, you have to look at if you're not feeling better with this association, right? Then you find yourself practicing alone, and religion is not structured as such. Religion has a dogmatic aspect attached to it that involves other people, which is considered the fellowship, which is the congregation, which is the brotherhood, the ummah, right? Right? When I say brotherhood in that sense, I'm also talking about the sisters, right? Because if you say brother, there's sister. So, and just looking at it from the aspect of humanity. So if you are part of these institutions, then that means that you have to do things a particular way. If you don't do them that way, then somebody thinks that they have the right to correct you. But we all need to be correct with God. And people, brothers that say, well, it's my obligation to give you dawah and all this, that, and the other, and it's our responsibility to be our brother's keeper. But you slimy as hell. You act against everything that is written. And the community, so many communities reek of it. They reek of disdain for one another. They reek of antisocial behaviors. They reek of all of the things that they profess to be against. And I don't know about you, but if I have to be somewhere and I am uncomfortable, especially in an environment, right, where that guidance is also hinging on the unity of that particular place, then that listen, don't we have the same issue in our communities today, in our neighborhoods today, in this world overall? Right? Everybody got something to say. It is so off-putting when I go through social media. Either I got somebody shaking their behind and showing all of their parts, or I got somebody beefing with another person because of some of the stupidest things. Grown men, man, I've never in my life seen so many men, especially in this era, right? So many men acting on things that are typically conduct of women. And I say this respectfully. There was a time when men didn't sit around and gossip the way they do today. It's men that sit around today and worrying about another man's pocket. Like I've never seen so many men just beef and beef and beef over girly stuff. Sitting in barbershops just talking about other men. I've never seen it. I've never seen, and I'm talking about grown men. I'm talking about men who profess to have some kind of a spiritual foundation, some kind of a relationship. Listen, if you are professing something, there's an ownership that you have once you make that profession. When you take your shahada, you are professing to commit to the oneness of the Creator. You are professing that you are going to commit to the guidance, right, given the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was given that to give to the people, the followers of Jesus. Came with the information, sat with the very people you won't sit with. I have brothers that tell me, your foot this way, you didn't turn this, and well, you're not going to get this, and you're not going to get that, and it's sickening, because at the end of the day, I have my own evidence for what God has done and continues to do in my life. I know where I took me as a result of my hard-headedness. I know where it took me as a result of my lack of discipline, right? Because I wasn't taught it. I learned it. I know it. I have to adhere to it if I want to live a better life. Taking a shahada doesn't change your life. It's a commitment that you make. It's a vow that you make. Just like getting when you go get saved and you get the I can't escape me right now, but you know what it is that I'm talking about. When you go through the dipping and you come out and you're supposed to be clean now. It didn't mean that everything went away. It means now you have an opportunity. You took the dirt off of you and you were baptized. Right? But what does that mean? That means baptized is a verb. There was action taken. Taking your shahada. That's a verb. That's an action. It's not a noun. There's an action that comes behind it. And as I said before, putting on a jalabiyah, izar, a kufi doesn't make you Muslim. It just makes you dressed up. That's all it does. Putting a yarmulke on doesn't make you Jewish. You just have a yarmulke on. Being Christian and wearing your dresses to a certain ankle length and covering your head with none of that makes you any of those things. Doesn't make you any of those things. It just means that you are following a dogma. It's cultural threads, right? There's political threads now in religion. A whole lot of stuff comes along with all of that. And that's what has so weakened religion, because everybody focuses on all the wrong aspects instead of the values and the principles. It's so many focusing on an intellectual understanding of something that we've all come to believe is spiritual in nature, that comes from a power greater than us all. How can you think that you can sit down and conceptualize the power of the knowledge of God? That's arrogance. That's self-righteousness. It has nothing to do with anything other than you and it unchecked. Because you don't have a developed super ego, plain and simple. So we started talking last week about the impairment, the mental and physical health impairment that the struggle of religious practices often imposes upon a person. Do you know how stressful it is to when you're around like the other brothers? I'll talk about the Muslims, because that was my commitment. My other experiences with religion were forced. Somebody took me and I had to attend. Every Wednesday, Tuesday, we had this, and Thursday we was, so I got that knowledge. So, when you have brothers who are always like looking you up and down, trying to figure out what they can tell you, because in their minds, I have to give this brother some dawah. I have to tell him what he needs to do to get right with the law. Who told you that? That's not what it says. That's you regurgitating the word to somebody else, and you don't have an understanding for yourself. That's you taking a term that has spiritual connotations attached to it, and you taking an intellectual approach to how you deliver it. You attach all kind of other things to that, and giving it other meanings that it is not. It's like even speaking in tongues. When we talk about speaking in tongues, no, speaking in tongues, they were speaking in tongues. That means those were people from different parts who came together and given honor and praise. Those in different parts who were giving honor and praise from their respective areas. The tongue, speaking in tongue, references, there's English, there's Arabic, there's French, there's Spanish, yada, 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 yada. There's speaking in tongues. You have to read and understand and stop running with something, and that's not what it says. So you have to understand that the Muslim should be knowledgeable of the Bible, because we say that we believe in Allah, His messenger, His books, the afterlife. Those books, the people of the book. Jesus is talked about more in the Quran than any other Christian-based content in books, right? So when I, as a Muslim, am talking about Jesus, the followers of Jesus, the principles and the values of his his uh, 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 um, his ministry, right? He ministered that which was given to him, right? But yet and still, many Muslims still wouldn't even have a conversation about Jesus. When the Jehovah's Witnesses knock on the door and ask you, do you love Jesus? I say, absolutely, I love Jesus. May the blessings of God and peace be with you. Have a good day. It's nothing else for them to discuss anymore, because now they know that you know Jesus and they can't tell you anything else. Only thing they can then do is talk about, oh, well, you know, he this and he's coming back and he this and that. They don't understand Jesus. They don't understand what that whole era was plagued with at the time when he was sent. You have to understand that. You have to understand there was a need for Jesus to be where he was at the time that he was there, and all of those others who preceded, because only one proceeded. But if you don't have an understanding, you're going to always have a struggle. And then when you're around people who are constantly at your neck telling you, well, brother, you know, if your foot, no, that's not how your foot's supposed to be, that won't be accepted. Brother, I was putting my foot in a whole lot of all the wrong positions and in all the wrong places, and I am still sitting here before you at 63, almost 64 years old, and have a great, blessed, wonderful life. But your focus is on telling me that I should wear my shirt, a t-shirt, over top of my izar and not tucked in because of this. You know, come on. And then it's funny, I'm saying that because I was in my feed, and when I was in my feed, there was a Middle Easterner talking about the very same thing I'm talking about now, and then two flips later, there was somebody showing you how to not pray as a Muslim. You know, making some of the gestures of what some of the Muslims do. They when they're making their salat and they do this and that and he was and don't do this and don't do that. I quickly went past that, because at the end of the day, again, we're talking about the severity of the negative impacts of on mental health and physical health. It's a struggle, man. That's why so many people have left the ranks. That's why the pews are emptying. That's why the floor is not covered when you come into the masala, because people have tired of this kind of self-righteousness that our environments reek of. So let's go to the article. What is a religious or spiritual struggle? A religious or spiritual struggle involves a tension or conflict of an individual may experience. It missed the word here. A religious or spiritual struggle involves a tension or conflict an individual may experience in relation to what they consider sacred. For instance, like in the song lyrics above, a person may feel angry, disappointed, abandoned, or even rejected by God. Someone may wrestle with their beliefs or the ultimate meaning of their lives. An individual also may be upset, excuse me, by interactions they've had with others within religious or spiritual communities, or feel hurt or offended by the teachings of a faith. That, in that short paragraph, defines what a religious or spiritual struggle is. And I just told you all of that. I just told you all of that in my spill in opening the show this morning. I just told you that exact same thing. It was a disappointment. And I talked to you about this last week. It was a disappointment for me back in 1994 when I became a member of a masjid, a community that is known by all in Philadelphia, New Jersey, and Delaware, that has been identified as being the bougie, right? And you come in there, and that's pretty much what you feel like. Like if you don't know so and so, oh, they don't. If you ain't wearing such and such, oh, they don't. Now, I didn't tell you that it wasn't any good brothers in there, sisters that I met. Absolutely. But when a resident imam does not establish a culture, an environment of welcomeness for everybody, not just that old fake behind, Assalamu alaikum, brother. Yeah. You know, they rambling off all this stuff, and that's not what the Quran says. The Quran didn't tell you that responding had to have all that added to it. You extend a greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum. That's the best greeting that you can give anyone, not just a Muslim. But the arrogance of I know Arabic often precedes the knowledge that you were given that you failed to use. And nobody has that conversation. You have Muslim gangs. It's written that it would be divided into 99 sects, and only one would be the correct. And everybody believes that they're the correct because they're part of this particular sect. Again, divide. You just strive in the way of God. What does that mean? And it's difficult, and people don't want to understand it. And a lot of people don't even talk about it. They don't talk about it with the very ones that they sit with, because then they be perceived as being combative, argumentative, different, and still want to force it down your throat and tell you what you know. What you know is not the right way. That's why I'm glad that I studied under Imam Abdul Alim, one of the most noteworthy scholars in the city of Philadelphia and abroad, but especially in the city of Philadelphia. And if you don't know, city of Philadelphia has the largest community of Muslims than any other city. Than any other city. Government leadership, yeah. But just think of the power that will truly exist in the city of Philadelphia if that community stood by that which the Prophet Muhammad wasallam brought to us. Any city. The Nation of Islam is out back in the streets again, getting membership. We have things happening in our world today that many are not prepared for. So you don't have to go and get prepared if you're always in preparation mode. Whatever comes, I'm prepared for. If it's death, that's part of life. I know where I'm going. And if I'm wrong, it's okay. I know that there's a continuum. So if there's more work that my spirit needs to do to settle, to be on another assignment, because that's how I look at this, man. You know, unsettled spirits who don't die, uttering the words, dying in the state of, you died in another condition. Your spirit has to be settled, or your spirit will continue to go on and on and on through this. Is this just one more of those levels? We have ascension, we have descension, we have hell, the description of right here on earth. We have a garden that's been described as being right here on earth and not in some. We had that discussion last week, so I'm not going to go back into it. Look up the word loft. Look up the word lofty. Look them up. There are many people who are in lofty places who are forced to get down, who are told to get ye down from here because you don't deserve to be in this place. What is that place? What place do you come from? What place are you going to? Why were you told to get ye down from here in this lofty place? The struggle. The effects of struggling with religion and spirituality, back to the article. Research conducted across a variety of contexts and groups consistently reveals how religious and spiritual struggles predict poorer mental and physical health. For instance, individuals who report more religious and spiritual struggles also tend to report more anxiety, more depression, and suicidality, as well as lower satisfaction with life and overall happiness. How the hell do you embrace something? How the hell do you profess something that's supposed to enhance your life? That's supposed to help you save your life, not want to take it? How are you part of something like that and you feel that way? How? How's it on Friday? You should be in the shower, showering up and putting on that oil and rubbing yourself down with frankincense, myrrh, and all those other wonderful scents. You're going to congregate with my brothers. My brothers, I'm going to sit toe to toe, shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow with my brothers. This is a great day that God has brought upon us. And you coming in there with the arrogance of, I'm gonna make sure I put on there. This is that Armani stuff, bam, like $4.50 a bottle, man. Yeah, I'm gonna get these leather shoes, man. They cost $6.50. They come straight out of Egypt. Yeah, I got this on, brother. You step across that trestle, right, entering the Messiah. None of that should be present. It shouldn't be present anyway. But once you cross that threshold, all that's gone. We're nothing but humble servants. That's all we are. We're slaves. We're servants to the Creator. But if you can't put yourself in that condition because you're so conditioned on what you want others, man, to see in you. Man can't see in you. Man sees of you. And you just show where you're not disciplined and don't even realize that. That's how arrogant you are. And then you talk to another brother who ain't nah. Who you know? Nah. When you think you want to kill yourself, when you feel like you want to kill yourself, that shows there's no alignment. Everybody needs a connection. A connection. But yet and still, calling you up on Friday, yo, brother, you coming with us, man? We're going to go to such and such and eat. You know how we do. We go and bring it up over there. Yeah, we spend this, we buying that, we rolling up in this. And, ain't nobody saying you're hungry. Yo, you hungry? Come on, man, we got you. And when they do it, they do it arrogantly because they want somebody else to think that they got it going on. But on the side, they asking you for something because they overspent. They shouldn't have spent. They put themselves in a position where they didn't need to, but they were so busy talking and displaying the arrogance that they lost track of, the guidance that they just got, and they walked out of, they crossed back over from that at the threshold of spirituality, spiritual conditioning, spiritual upliftedness, and they enter back into the world of insanity. And it's like riding the bike, man. Pick up that cell phone. Yo, what's up, man? Yo, I got to pick that bundle up, man. Yo, can you move your car? I'm talking about my experience. I'm talking about what I see. I'm talking about I stopped seeing the need to be in that environment because it was very depressing. It was very depressing. Yeah, I realized some people had to go back to work, but what about those that didn't? What about when it just wasn't a Jummah? What about when it was a community event on a Saturday or a Sunday? What about when it was a class? Now, I say that the brothers, most of the brothers who attended the classes, right? There was a connection with because we were studying. There was one brother in the class who came. He was always flipped with the mouth. He acted like he knew more than what the imam knew, and he always had extra to bring, to the imam, and always wanted to try to correct others in the class. And finally, one day the imam checked him. Yeah. See, some of them forget that we wasn't always in alignment, and we can get offline real, just like anybody else. I wasn't always saved. I wasn't always a servant to the Creator. Don't get it twisted. That dude is just sleep. I try to keep him asleep. But part of our preparedness for what we have to face in this world, right? You just want him asleep. You don't want him gone. It's written. We have rights. Yeah. Sometimes you got to handle things. You need to be prepared for that too. Right? Yeah. Days of David and Goliath. There's a value in that story. The only ones using rocks for a long time was Palestinians. And they stopped using rocks. So if you're not feeling better, why are you a part of this? Why are you showing up every Sunday? You hate going because you know what's going to be. You know it's like, and then you tell yourself, well, this is what God has instructed me to do. Read. And understand the instruction. So back to the article. Experiencing religious and spiritual struggles may also underlie why many people disengage from a religion, an increasingly common occurrence. For example, people may withdraw from a religion when they feel negative emotions toward God, right? To the lyrics in the top, I read that was last week, such as in the lyrics that opened this post. Let me go. How about I do this? Let me go back to the lyrics in the post because if you weren't on the last show, you wouldn't know. It's in the 2023 song "God Must Hate Me" by Katie Turner. Katie Turner writes, "Do you ever see someone and think, wow, God must hate me? Because he spent so much time on them, and for me, he got lazy. Got ample mental illness, personality flaws, while their only flaw seems to be is that they have none at all. I don't know what I believe, but it's easier to think he made a mistake with me." Now, I can't sing the song because I don't know the song. But when you listen to it, here's a person who is like part of something and sees that, wow, everybody else seems to be perfect. He got lazy when it came to me. Got ample mental illness, personality flaws, while their only flaw seem to be is that they have none at all. I don't know what I believe, but it's easier to think he made a mistake with me, right? Because that's what people ultimately feel like when they're parts of fellowships, when they're part of the Ummah, right? that everybody has something, seemingly has something to say to them every time that they're around them, trying to correct them on the dogma. So the 6 ways of coping. Let's get to that because we haven't gotten to that. Last week, I went in, and when it comes to this subject matter, I will always go in, especially on this subject matter, because I had to make that decision for myself. I had to make the decision that um, this whole congregation, this whole Umar thing wasn't working for me. I should have been enjoying my brothers and sisters. I should have been looking forward to Juma. I should have been looking forward to going to the masjid to see brother so and so, to see sisters so. And don't get me wrong, I love my imam, Kenneth Nuruddin. He will always be my imam, right? Uh, 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 Sister Cloud Muhammad, if you're not familiar, Philadelphia Masjid, Kenneth Nuruddin will always be my imam because he was the first imam that I came to know. He was an imam that supported me in running to be a board member. Right? I'd never had. I mean, listen to what I'm saying to you. I love that masjid. There are a lot of good people in there who I've come to know and know. What's missing, and I say this from any institution, is the consistency with the oneness of not just Allah, but His creations, and understanding the significance that everybody, to include non-Muslims, because that's the other part to it. We have an obligation to non-Muslims. We have an obligation. Listen to what I'm saying to you, and I don't care about what it is that you disbelieve. All of us are Muslim, and until you come to understand that Muslim is one who submits to the will of God, plain and simple. Christians in the Middle East refer to God as Allah. Allah is an Arabic word. Some of you hear Allah and you cringe, and you should, but not for that reason. Ah, here come one of them. You were just told a word that's an Arabic word. If I say que, what does que mean in Spanish? What? Que? What? You don't cringe? Oh, okay. But when you hear the word Allah, your whole appearance changes, your whole swagger, your whole presentation of self changes. Why is that? The first way listed here. Realize you're not alone. Experiencing religious and spiritual struggles appears fairly common. In one study, for example, when a national sample of adults were asked to name a specific religious or spiritual struggle they experienced in the past few months, about 40% could do so. Furthermore, many of the heroes of religious faith, from Job to Jesus to Mother Teresa in the Judeo-Christian faith, for instance, also struggle with matters of the sacred. Realizing this may help decrease the sense of guilt, shame, or moral unacceptability you may feel. Right? That's number one. Number two, interrogate your experience. Can you pinpoint the sources or causes of your struggle? I pinpointed it in this show and the first episode, the first part of this subject matter. That's what guided me towards coming away from it. Is it possible to think about this in a more optimistic way? I did that. For example, is God really the cause of the stress and trauma in your life? Does your distress necessarily reveal that God is cruel and against you? Could it be, instead, that God loves you, that God is with you, and that other factors may be responsible for causing your pain? A deeper dive into theologies of suffering may help you grow religiously and spiritually through this struggle. So for me, I was able to pinpoint, I was able to look at things from an optimistic perspective. I was able to say to myself, is there something you can do different to feel better about being in this environment? And no matter how many different things I listed within myself that I could possibly do, the end result was always the same outcome. I still wasn't going to feel any better about it. Yes, I can forgive this and I can forgive that. Yes, I can accept this and I can accept that about the behavior of human beings. But at the end of the day, was that going to change how I felt in that environment? Absolutely not. Because those things were fact, they were supported by evidence, not arrogance, not conflictual cognitive interpretations. These were things that I could actually pinpoint and say, when I come here, I experienced this. Before getting there, I experienced this. It's just like anything else. You have to work on Monday. Come Sunday, the closer it gets to 6 o'clock, the more I was in my head about the job. The more I was wrapping myself around the what had to begin to what had to take place the next day. In many cases, depressing. And I'm not talking about any particular job. I'm just talking about, like, listen, work is work. It ain't fun. Not supposed to be fun. That's why they call it work. But there's a preparation that begins to happen within. Right? No matter what it is. And when you start feeling that way about going to a place that is supposed to uplift you, supposed to bring joy, you're supposed to go and feel the spirit. Right? Come on. Sit there and don't get up and clap and see what happens. Yeah. I go to the church every now and then with my wife. I don't participate in everything. I'm not going with the motions and for what? For what? If that's the expectation, then I need not be going. I need not be going. If the expectation is that I'm coming up to the altar, right, and you lay hands on me, and I don't do that, and that's off-putting to you. What's off-putting to me to just be able to come there just to hear the word, and I can't do that because you have an expectation of me, right? I don't hear the songs and stand up and why? That has nothing to do with my interpretation of the of values and beliefs and all those things. It's like I don't have to do all those things. It's no more than a person who comes to the masjid who is a non-Muslim. The requirement is that your head is covered if you're a woman, that you don't come in with tight-fitting clothing. That's your requirement. We need our people focused. Yes, and some are more well endowed than others, and they, we get that part. But you come into the masala, you're covered, right? You don't have to get up and make salat. You don't know how to make salat. You don't get up and just start going through the motions, and you don't know. You sit there and you observe. And if you have some connection that you can make at that time in terms of a meditative practice you have that doesn't have you, interrupting what's happening in there, then you silently you do your thing. You make your prayer as well, right? You bring out your rosary beads, right? You hold your hands and you lift your hands and giving your offering at the same time. That's what we're doing. But it's you know. So, but we have those environments again where people learn, so-called learned people, put you in a position of like, I ain't gonna let you in. And you only get one time with me. You get one time with me because the expectation is that you're learning on theological studies. You made the choice to practice that preferred religion. But theologically, you are learning and ought to adhere to such that you have learned in your studies. Number 3, reframe struggle as a sign of strength. If you're experiencing a religious or spiritual struggle, you probably think hard about what's true and meaningful about much of life. And that's a good thing. You care enough to seriously wrestle with your beliefs and values. Don't go along to get along. Even if you are of the same faith, you don't have to get up and down and do all those things that everybody else is doing. You look like drones. You look like puppets. You don't be a puppet. The praise that you're coming to offer, the message that you're coming to hear is between you and God. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. So if brother so-and-so don't feel like standing there, damn it, he doesn't have to stand. You don't come to brother so-and-so after and beat him upside the head because brother, well, you know that you got to do this. You got to show it. Well, and that little voice inside of you is saying, well, right now I am showing it because I haven't like slapped you upside your head because you're talking to me like I'm a 2-year-old. And people, come on, you know you go through that. You know you had people coming up to you. You know you got to. You got to do nothing. What I'm doing or not doing is between me and God. If I'm coming to you and I'm asking you, then you offer. Then you give me that dollar. You don't just walk around like you the FBI or something, Federal Bureau of Islam. You walk around, brother, did you wash your ankles? Brother, those pants are supposed to be 3 inches above your ankle. Brother, your pants are dragging in hell. You're in the hellfire. Nobody wants to hear those kind of things. So off-putting, man. You have to look at the suffering. Excuse me. Suffering is an option. You're going to get pain. It is very uncomfortable. It is very disheartening. It is very saddening to have to experience within, the institution of your choosing. It's disheartening, man, to experience that kind of rhetoric, that kind of talk. When you walk into the room and people, it is. It is. I remember being at an Islamic event in, excuse me, in Philly, and they had a masala inside of it. It was in the convention center, and they had a masala, and it was around time for prayer, and whoever the establishment was that had put this together, nobody had any designated person to call the adhan. And everybody was sitting around. I really wanted to just go ahead and just call it down because it's my duty. But then, we have our brothers who are so arrogant who want to embarrass and humiliate. Our brother, no, we got somebody to do the no. So I didn't want to go through all that because I've seen how our brothers are, how our brothers can be. Because again, it's not everybody, but we have so many of us who are so arrogant, who were not just alhamdulillah. Brothers calling the adhan. because I wasn't the only one that felt that way. I know I wasn't. There was at least 40, 50 of us already in that room just waiting for somebody to call the adhan so we can have, our prayer. Right? Then a brother came in and he began to make salat with boots on. He had his boots on. And like it was some things that were apparent about him. But nobody, like people were just sitting back talking about him, and some brothers like and pointing, and then somebody finally went up there and stood next to him, brother. And he took the boots off, and somebody called the adhan, and we made prayer. But we sat there for every bit of 15, 20 minutes waiting for somebody to call the adhan. I didn't want to go, yeah. Again, the part in that for me was for me to go ahead and just do it. That was my learning curve. Go ahead and do it, because for me to go up there and begin to make salat, knowing that it was time for prayer, because you shouldn't put off prayer, right? That's my obligation. But then the other obligation was for me to go ahead up there and call the adhan. That was an obligation. But because of me not wanting to be humiliated and embarrassed, but the part with your brother in the boots, like your brother was like, hey, listen, he was making salat and he had his boots on. Listen, full length Timbs. And he was in it. But just the jeers and everything that came along with that, and oh, Safallah. Oh, no, brother. Oh no. Like they were like, look, some of them like were literally ready to run out of the room as though something was going to fall from the sky. That's the mindset, man. We have the very same people who walk around with that self-righteousness is one of the greatest destructors in religion. Self-righteousness. Number 4. Back to the article. Recognize this may be a temporary. Like other kinds of struggles, religious and spiritual struggles may pass. And like other kinds of struggles, they don't need to be resolved right away. Take care of yourself and give this some time to see how you feel later. Give yourself the opportunity to gain more experience and perspective, and you may find a peaceful resolution awaits. Yeah, I thought it would pass. I kept saying it to myself. I said, well, you got a lot going on. Is it this? Is it that? Is it an expectation that you have of others that they should this? Because I have to look at those kind of things. But it's spelled out. What kind of environment should be established for people to congregate and being able in that moment to establish an alignment with God? That's the goal. That's the environment that must be created. That everybody comes in, and everybody who's coming in pain-free, flawed, intellectually unflawed, whatever it is, nothing matters when you cross that threshold except you and God. In that moment, everything that you have learned, that is written, all the principles, the values, and all those things are what are prevalent, should be, must be prevalent when walking through those doors. Whether you're going to a mosque, masala, church, synagogue, no matter what it is, all business is put off. All business. Not just you being a vendor, not just you being at the job, all business. Even the business that's going on up in here. All business stops when it's time for prayer. All business stops. This is alignment time. Number 5, seek support from someone you trust. Avoiding or minimizing your struggles isn't going to help. Find someone who can empathize, accept you as you are, and help you through this time without making you feel guilty or ashamed. Professional help is an option for working through these struggles as well. It says from someone. It didn't say everyone. And it didn't say that that person, that someone, has to be of the same religious practice. Didn't say that. It didn't say go find another Muslim, Sabir. You're Muslim. You find another Muslim to talk to. And you talk to that Muslim. You can't go to someone else because only a Muslim knows. The Muslim knows Quran. The Muslim should also know the Bible. The Muslim should know the King James Version, the New Testament, the Old Testament. Why? Because he or she has family members who practice as such. Because those books are part of the books that is mentioned in the Quran. How can you not know? You learn another language, even if you take a book with you when you go to another country, you don't speak the language. Now we have interpreters that we carry with us on our phones, but you can't talk to anybody, you can't communicate with anybody if you don't know the language. A believer of the book believes in God, regardless of what the name is. Find someone who can empathize, not somebody who feels sorry for you, someone who understands the struggle. Because all of us have, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, have had a struggle when it comes to religion. Whether you were newly introduced and just couldn't grasp the concepts of what people were or were not doing, or whether you've been in it for a minute and you've seen the change because generations change, attitudes change, behaviors change within those places. You see those changes. So it happens with all of us. Sometimes we don't feel like going to church on Sunday. Sometimes we don't feel like going to the synagogue on Saturday. Sometimes we don't feel like going to Jumu'ah on Friday. Sometimes we don't feel like going to study classes. Sometimes we just don't. Why? 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 You're saving your life. You keep brakes on your car, don't you? You keep brakes on your car because when it's time to stop, you want to stop. That other person, that someone that you confide in, that empathetic ear, are your brakes. Because sometimes we just need to stop. Allow ourselves the privilege of thinking. And ask yourself, am I putting too much into this? Am I doing too much? And ask yourself those things. Number 6, finally, accept mystery and irresolution. Much of what people struggle with religiously and spiritually is unknowable. And as much as we might like resolution of our problems, sometimes that's not possible. As the writer Anne Lamott says, the opposite of faith isn't doubt, it's certainty. It's certainty. Yeah. So if you're struggling with whether you want to continue this religious practice or not, it's okay. If you feel like walking away from attendance to any of these institutions, it's okay. It's your right. Who told you you have to stay? And I know it's hard because you run into these people. And they ask you all these questions. They're all up in your business. And you don't want to be disrespectful. You don't want to bring harm to anybody. But you're being harmed. You're being harmed and not being able to be free, to live free according to how you want to live. It's your life. It's your life. If they've changed towards you, they were already that way before. And you have to understand that. This is not a new person. They're not getting new on you. They're the same person. They're the same person. Rightly conditioned, wrongly conditioned, they're the same person. They were judging you then. And they're judging you now. It doesn't matter. Listen, y'all can be doing anything else on a Saturday morning than listening to me. I so appreciate you guys who tune in, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, because the show is actually going on those different platforms right now. But listen to what I'm saying to you. Stop being held hostage in religion if it's not for you. That has nothing to do with your relationship with God. I chose not to be caught up in these dogma. I chose not to be. After years, I started practicing, and well, let me say this. I was introduced to Islam in 1988 through the Nation. There were a lot of brothers that started getting educated on the Nation of Islam. A good brother who I was working with, Hebrew Israelite, him and I began to have a lot of conversations. When I decided that I wanted to, bring about change in my life, I asked a brother who I knew, who I'd met, to take me to the masjid because I had never been in the masjid. I met very, very good imams. And again, I love my imam. Imam Kenneth Nurdin, Philadelphia Masjid, Sister Clara Muhammad. I love the brother. Good brother. Saw something in me, whereas he supported me in running for to be a board member at the Sister Clara Muhammad institution, and so I have no regrets. My life has been great because when I look at all the evidence that I have, you have your own evidence. I didn't always turn my foot the way the instructions told me. I didn't always make prayer on time. I didn't always make prayer 5 times a day. I didn't always, and I don't. But I have my own evidence how, like, I still was blessed to wake up every day. I still have 5 fingers, well, 10 of them. I still have my faculties about myself. We're not talking about my sanity because, I know I'm a little crazy. But I have my own evidence to support that before Islam, before Christianity, before Jehovah's Witness, before exposure to any of those things, I was seeing things happening in my life. I know where I came from. Those of you who know me know where I came from. I have my own evidence, and it had nothing to do with religion. It had everything to do with the relationship that I had formed with God, unbeknownst to me. Because I was always calling him. I was always talking to him. I spent a lot of times by myself as a child coming up. Most of the times when you see me, if I ain't with the wife and kids, I'm solo. I was just telling somebody the other day, I have not had a physical altercation since 1978. I'm 63. This is 2024. I'll be 64 in 15 days. That wasn't the result of religion. That's the result of my love and my commitment and my servitude to God. How I treat people, how I talk to people. None of my ex-wives would ever tell you with validity. Nor would they tell you that because that's not of their character. Would they tell you that Sabir was a bad husband? None of them would tell you that because I don't treat people like that. And when I find myself going in that direction as a result of my heart being broken, unrealistic expectations, whatever it is that you want to call it, yeah, you bring another dude forth. I don't like being that dude. He makes me uncomfortable. That other dude scares me. So I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid of me. But I found no value in being mean, nasty, arrogant. I found it's no benefit in it. I've seen everything that those things do. They've gotten me nothing that I was seeking to have. Get out if you're uncomfortable. Stop taking yourself through that. This article was all about the mental and physical interruptions of your life due to a struggle with should I stay or should I go? Period. I made a decision to live a spiritual life. Mind you, my conditioning since 1988 has been in Islam. So I didn't abandon Islam. I'm still Muslim. Why? Because I submit to the will of God. But all the principles, all the values, those things are still fully intact. I know quite well. But any time that you are a part of anything that's organized, there's an expectation of conduct. There's an expectation of practice. There's an expectation that others, that man then imposes upon you because you are part of that, which causes the discomfort. And you know that. You know you don't like going. You know you're tired of going. You know you're sick of the people. You know you don't feel any better going. You feel better not going. But you feel compelled going, all in the name of love for God. Because that's what you've been conditioned to believe. Look at the evidence of your life and ask you, what was my life like before? When you get saved, when you take your Shahada, it just opened another door of learning for you. And you convince yourself, it's like a placebo effect. You convince yourself that life has changed as a result of that. No, that's not how it works. You take the principles, the values, the beliefs of that prophet, and you listen and you apply those things to your life. Yeah, the spiritual life. The stuff that goes on up here, that's not spiritual. That's man's reaction. That's man's response. That's man's perception of what has or has not happened to his or her satisfaction. The trauma resides here. The trauma. A mindless person, can enjoy life. What does that tell you? The brain and all those other things are just accessories to the human being. The mind is where the problem begins. Yeah. That's where the problem begins. That's where the jihad takes place. That internal struggle between the spirit and this here that resides up here, the ongoing struggle, what it keeps telling you up here and what it's telling you down here in the super ego. Look it up, the id, the ego, and the super ego, and get an understanding of where the conflict is. The morality is always at odds with the mind. Listen, we're past the time. I used to be a little more structured with the time, but I tried to integrate my music as well into the platform because that that's what I do as well. You know, for those of you who don't know, I have music that you can find on any streaming platform. All you have to do is Google Sabir Alim. I'm involved with a whole lot of different things. So, um, I'm blessed, man. Right? My life has been great since I've made the decision, and it's been about what maybe 3 years. 3 years since I've made the transition to just living a spiritual way of life. I don't feel the stress and the strain of having to get here on Friday. I don't having to deal with this. I don't go through the emotional upheaval because I got to go in there and I got to listen to somebody who doesn't practice what they preach. I got to sit in there with a bunch of folks who you don't know, and I've never had that feeling at that I had at that one masjid at any other place. I've been to masjids where there's nothing but Arab Muslims in there and felt better being in there than I did at this particular masjid that everybody knows about in Philly, and I won't say their names. It's the bougie one. But going to Sister Clara Muhammad was like the best thing. Most of those guys in there knew my father. For those of you who don't know, who was murdered in 2004. Excuse me. So my father was a laborer, and a lot of those guys in there knew my dad. And once they found out, who my father was, that opened up even more of a relationship with the brothers. So a lot of good brothers there. Brother Wesley, he was always one of the greeters when coming into masjid, was one of the first brothers who I really formed a bond with and had very few conversations with him. But it was just the interaction with him was always, Wesley, brother Wesley Bay. Like I said, Kenneth, Nuruddin, the Imam there, and a host of other brothers. So it wasn't it wasn't. I'm not telling you that it was all bad. I'm just telling you, for me, like I can make it all good by myself, and I can make it all bad by myself. I don't need help. I don't need help in making it bad. I don't need that. And when you're part of congregations, when you're part of institutions, there's expectations there. And I'm just not a person who, nah, nah. And it's okay if you feel that way too. It's okay if you don't agree. What I eat don't make you poop. Remember that. It's about my life. It's not about yours. And the same thing with, this vote. Everybody got so much to say about who you voting for. That's like asking somebody what color underwear they wear. That's none of your business. That's none of your business who I vote for. Doesn't matter. What I see the world, or the world. What I see as America's position in the world is of importance. What I see as being mankind's needs, that's how man pursues getting those needs met on his own. Washington is not an empathetic ear. They're not. The White House is a front. The White House is an LLC. You need to understand those kind of things. They're a non-profit business that's profiting off of everything, but they're manufacturing. They're the leaders. They're responsible for commerce. The states are responsible for control of its populace. The White House is it's an organization. It's business. I have the freedom of being able to go out and about without having bombs. Well, I don't know. This administration may be on the way to causing that to be different. But we don't live in that kind of country. Right? Those things are most important for me. The safety of the country. I have children, I have grandchildren. What is life going to be like for them? I'm the provider. What can I provide to my family? What do I give them? I'm not depending on an education system to teach my child. The education system has a different narrative, a different agenda. Why do I have expectations of them to do anything other than they're doing? No argument, no fight. If I take care of my health, right, I'm going to get health care some way, shape, form, or fashion. Figure it out. Get a job. Pay for it. Everybody can't. I get it. But you can work towards it. So I've been considered by many to be a conservative because I'm definitely not liberal. Right? I'm definitely not a liberal. I worked hard. I started working I was like 9 or 10 years old with my Uncle Frank exterminating. I was pushing lawnmowers. I've worked all of my life. I've worked for what I've got. I've accepted the fact that any interruptions in my direction was caused by me, not somebody else. I'm not one of those weak-minded brothers who walks around here and wants to blame why he hasn't achieved. I didn't achieve. I'd have been a doctor if I'd have just stayed the course early on. I didn't. I chose not to. I got caught up. So I'm not one of them brothers. So don't come having that conversation with me because I'm not going to indulge in it with you. I'm not going to sit there and be complicit and allow you to continue to have that conversation with me to fill my head with that rhetoric. I'm not doing that. You are in charge of your own self. You want to feel better? Make a decision as to whether you're going to continue to practice religion or whether you're going to practice spirituality. The principles and values of the religion haven't gone anywhere. Right? You just gotta make a decision, man. Just gotta make a decision. Hey, listen, again, thank y'all for tuning in. I will see you hopefully streets are yours next Saturday. So when you homies wet floors for blood, that's yours. For another episode of Daddy's Right Here Live. Don't forget AleemForYou.net. Check us out. Check us out, AleemForYou.net. Get your merchandise now. Check us out. Playing this game, it's insane. The one who got your book is probably the lane. A game of fame, every man for self. Personal gain, monetary wealth. Looking at a stretch, a nickel, maybe more. The homie gave you up, staying free for sure. Getting to the top, being in charge. Once a foot soldier, now Sarge. Moving up the ranks, want to be top dog. Putting in the work, no loyalty log. No remorse, what they want is status. Wetting up bodies, messy bad habits. This is my latest release. Messy bad habits. Wet floors. You say the streets are yours, how's that so? When your homies wet floors, with blood that's yours. Spilled on the daily by one another. See him the next day, calling him brother. That's what they do. You say the streets are yours, how's that so? When your homies wet floors, with blood that's yours. Spilled on the daily by one another. See him the next day, call him brother. Call him brother. Holes in your pockets were there to full. Your family's without you. Your woman they pull. Low down and dirty. This game you play. You learn the truth when you go away. Books empty, bills behind your back. They plotting, soon she'll be mine. You as now knew what it was. Better I have it now, cause the dog's friends to the end. Chucky, no dogs running here, puppy. Street life is mucky, getting through each day is lucky. Is this what you really strove for? To the ground you dove for. Stick up boys, they come for. Shots fired, homie made more. Yes, he did. Homie made more. Cause he was in on it. You say the streets are yours, how's that so? When your homies spread floors with blood that's yours. Spilled on the daily by one another. See him AleanForYou.net. AleanForYou.net. You say the streets are yours, AleanForYou.net. So when your homies wet floors with blood that's yours. Spilled on the daily by one another. See him the next day, call him brother. Call him brother. Ain't no loyalty in the streets no more. Want fame and fortune, even glory at the end of this game. Just another yard story. Funky, flunky, canteen junkie. The donkey, just another research monkey. Make a decision, life or death. What's your vision? Having faith or less? Chasing paper was the mission. Now a 6x6 you live in. Liberties you're missing. All the time you've done. No woman's flesh to feel. Get out your sock, pull your gun. Your life is what you make it. Quit the game, be free. Be true to yourself, not your enemy. Swing 21 Miguel, thank you for tuning in. Sexy forever. Thanks for joining in. Sister Samaki, you know I love you. Assalamu alaikum. You have a good weekend. May Allah continue to bless you. Girl Mom for life, you know what it is. You say the streets are yours, how's that so? When your homies wet floors with blood that's yours. Spilled on a daily by one another. See him the next day, coming brother. You say the streets are yours, how's that so? When your homies wet floors with blood that's yours. Spilled on a daily by one another. See him the next day, coming brother. Make sure y'all check my music out, man.
Up in the sky.
On any of
It's a
your
bird.
favorite music streaming
It's a plane.
platforms. Yeah,
It's
it's
just
all
my dad.
written,
My
produced,
dad. My
and
dad.
mastered by me. Yeah, listen to the lyrics. Listen. Y'all have a great day. I'm out. Moving through the street with swagger, need. Often works to job to take care of my need. Taking it all in stride. Daddy seldom complain. His emotions so high. All his aches and pains stays up in his head about what must be done. Taking no time off. Daddy stays on the run. He's my dad and I love him. With him I have no fear. Because anytime I need him, I know Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Daddy seldom gets credit. We don't see all that he does. What's important to us is always showing Daddy love.
His love sometimes tough to learn why it took a while. Our relationship special, but I'm daddy's child. Facing his responsibilities, making it do what it do. Physically and emotionally available, yeah, daddy's coming through. He's my dad and I love him. With him I have no fear. Because anytime I need him, I know daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Nothing easy about fatherhood, protecting us from all the no good. Most of the time he gets it right. He'll usually see the light. He'll take his problems to God. Sometimes we'll pray together. The most gracious, most merciful one. With him the storms will weather. He's my dad and I love him. With him I have no fear. Because anytime I need him, I know daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Here, 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 here. He wasn't no Rolling Stone. Daddy was bad to the bone. He never rode with many. He tends to roll alone. With all he's been through, Daddy always stayed the course. Living life on its terms. God is his go-to source. He turned his life around, seeking refuge from the one above. Now we have the best of him, a daddy full of love. He's my dad and I love him. With him I have no fear, because anytime I need him, I know daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. He's my daddy. He's my daddy. He's my daddy. Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. He's my daddy. He's my daddy. He's my daddy. Daddy's right here.
You better know it.
Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Here.